morning, everybody. Welcome to the Trading Market Technicals morning call video for Tuesday, June 26. Yesterday, we indicated that we may be gapping lower based on the E-mini futures down 8 handles in the pre-market, and sure enough, we did. We gapped lower and sold off a couple of more handles after that, and then we chopped around pretty much most of the day and had a weak bounce, oversold bounce into the close. As you look at the 5-minute chart here, right from the opening, gap lower on the spiders, and then pretty much just chopped around all day. Bollinger Bands being real tight on the 5-minute, and then we had that little volume surge at the end of the day here. So really a non-event, unless you were short already going into yesterday from Friday, which would have been a great way to get short, was that weak oversold bounce that we talked about on Friday. We did have some technical damage, minor technical damage for now. We did break the 20-day moving average on all of the broad-based indices and ETFs, which I'll show you on the charts. Particularly the stochastics started to roll over from overbought levels, so that's some sort of a positive to unwind that overbought readings. One thing that really stands out, which I will show you again, is the summation index continues to remain bullish. So there's some strength in there, and I want to show that to you as well. But we do have end of the month, end of the quarter window dressing, and how we're going to play this for this week is, I would imagine, and again, we need to see price action to confirm what our analysis are telling us here. I would imagine that we get some sort of an oversold bounce, a weak bounce again, maybe going into this week. Could start as early as today, turn around Tuesday, and then maybe sell off again Wednesday, and then rally Thursday and Friday. That's very well possible. It has done so in the past. History repeats itself. So we want to keep a keen eye looking at price action. Now, the futures are up. They really were all over the map overnight. Really not much going on. There was very little news in Asia, out in Europe this morning. So there really isn't too much really to run a bias to really push indices back and forth, except for that kind of that oversold condition that overboard condition that we had, and then actually within a day or two, then turning around and being oversold. So yesterday, being oversold on a 60-minute chart, we do have some positive divergence. So that needs to really pan out first before we really get involved. But futures are up about 3 handles, so they're really all over the map from flat to up 3, trying to gain some footing and see if the bulls can come in today. So we have to understand and realize that we do have the end of quarter. A lot of these big funds, mutual funds, hedge funds, they're going to really mark up their books for that end of the quarter. So we want to make sure we're aware of that we could get a possible rally. We really not want to be short. Being short down here really isn't. We want to be short rallies. We don't want to be short in a hole here. So let's keep that in mind when you're trading, as well as day trading. On the longer-term picture, the longer-term picture really is not looking too great. Things can change. We do have a larger head and shoulders pattern on the Russell, copper, crude, gold, silver. We have a descending triangle. We have a head and shoulders on the euro, and we have an inverted head and shoulders, which is a bullish pattern in the dollar. Okay, dollar strength is going to be commodity and equity weakness, as we know. So right now, the technical patterns that are setting up, that doesn't mean that they need to trigger now when they break the neckline, but they're setting up for some further weakness going into the summer, which is typical seasonality. You usually get some weakness going in mid-July all the way up until August, and then they start to bottom and they start rallying a little bit going into the end of the year. But something that we really need to keep an eye on now, the short-term traders, as we are, day trading 1 to 3 days, 1 to 4 days. Really, it's not gonna. We just want to look at the current trend. But for the swing traders out there that are following me, I just want to put that a little bit more in perspective. So you need to understand that if you are swing trading, you're going to need to ride out some of these, make a decision and ride the storm, or take some profits, tighten up your stops. And as we know, stops are your best friend in this business. Okay, so let's run into the charts here. We have our 5-minute chart, and I always like to show you that lead first, only to give you an idea of where the market has gone. So a lot of people say, oh, wow, you're down 160. You must have been short in stocks all day. Not the case. And the reason why is because of risk, right? We want to manage our risk properly. And what we have here is we have that big gap lower. That's pretty much most of the move for the day. And that's why we're not looking to just kind of shorten a whole plain bluntly just kind of, okay, I'm short, the market's down, so I'm going to short stocks. No, we want to make sure that we get our bounce and make sure that we're basically in the right zone and right trade area in order for us to execute properly. I want to run into the indicators first and let you see what we have here. Now, the NYMO obviously is unwinding from overbought conditions. You can clearly see here on the S&P line chart, we have rolled over. Great indicator to give an idea of overbought, oversold. Now, you're not going to use it every day, and I'm not going to point it out every day, but I just wanted to get a good handle on showing you, like, we're basically getting into that, that median line right here. Okay, that zero line. And that's basically, there's nothing really to tell you other than that we've unwinded from overbought. Now, if we get additional selling and we get down to here, this is something that we're going to want to watch. Okay. Now, our bar chart momentum indicator is also a good indicator, but again, that's a little bit more. I like to show you guys in that perspective. If we're overbought, oversold, that'll give you a clean reading along with the NYMO. Okay. Now, the NASI, which I wanted to show you here, still holding up relatively well. If you can see, the Nasdaq Summation Index pretty much stronger out of the other 5 indices. Now, this here is very difficult to roll over. So, if you can see here, we have our point in this area that we haven't rolled over yet from our momentum moving average of 3 EMA. So, Nasdaq is selling off, but it's sort of a bullish trend, so something that we want to keep an eye on going forward. And our bullish percent S&P 500, as you can see here, we are trending up here on the 8 MA. Okay, now we are selling off, as you can see here in the line chart, and we're reaching a little bit overbought, now starting to pull back a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see if this 8 catches up to the indicator, and then we start hooking back up again. So that's something that I'm going to keep an eye on. Again, nothing really much to say over here. If you come down and look at the S&P 500 stocks above the 50-day moving average, we have now taken out from high, lower high, and now we're unwinding again, back again. So it looks like on the shorter term that we may get one bounce, which would be really for the swing guys, swing traders looking to short into for that next drop. And I think that next drop is going to come relatively soon based on what we see here in the U.S. dollar. And this is a really, as you can see, we picked up steam here. We sold off, but look what happened we came right back up on Friday, and then yesterday, again, continuation pattern here. So, if anything, we get a double test up in here and then fail, and then I would imagine we'd have a little bit of a rally in the market, sell off in the dollar, and then again, retesting some of those highs. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Guys, if you're trading during the day, you got to follow what the dollar's doing. It's critical. There are days that they do disconnect, but all in all, if the dollar has strength, commodities and equities will roll over. So that's something that I want to make sure you guys are aware of, okay? Okay, some technical damage. SPY, proxy for the S&P 500. Big, as you can see here, look what happened on Friday. I said it wasn't, we're going to get that low volume bounce. We didn't even get up to 50% of that candle. Didn't even get up that far. Low volume here. Stochastic starting to roll over, which is a good sign, at least to unwind some of this oversold, weak, overbought conditions, excuse me. And now we're broke below the 20 days. So now we're still above the 200, and that's going to be probably a magnet again to bring that down here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we even sold off down to here again and then had an oversold bounce again. That's the next step. We'll take it one step at a time. But again, today is Tuesday. We did have another sell-off yesterday, down about 150, 160. So I'm looking to see if we get some sort of a turnaround with the end of the quarter window dressing. So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's take a look at the other indices now. Transports, clearly the leader. Now, this is really not looking too good. And if you can see here, big volume day here. And again, we broke below the 200-day moving average. Now, we're back above it barely. Okay, this is not good, as you can see here. We didn't even rally on Friday, which that's why I mentioned to you yesterday morning. I said, guys, this does not look good. And sure enough, the transportation sector just collapsed. And again, this is the clear leader of the 5 indices that we follow. And if we can't get any momentum to the upside, I think all bets are off to the upside right now. So we want to see this start to move up a little higher. And obviously, even if we're looking to short, if you're not a bull and you're looking to short, you want to see a bounce in here, back up to the 20-day, and the indices will probably follow suit, and then you can actually get short the market. Qs. Now Qs are they're not bad. I mean, we did break the 20-day, but they're holding up relatively well. Look at how far away they are from the 200. But again, just clearly bad. Stocks are not really good right now. And again, we could look for an oversold bounce here to trade. You can trade long some of these stocks, just for that bounce. But don't get married right now to the upside, at least for the short term. And the Russell. Russell here sitting above the 20 and the 200, real close here. Again, large volume. That's giving you confirmation. We had another distribution day, unwinding from overbought, as you can see in the stochastics here. And really, the MACDs are holding up well on all of the indices. So it's something that we want to really pay attention to. Okay, and here's the Dow Jones again, right, broke below the 20 days. So you see the pattern is relevant, right? Big distribution days. We have all the days that were up, as you can see here, low volume up, heavy volume distribution. You can see this is happening continuously all the way through May, and then of course June. So we need to be caution. We need to use caution. We need to reduce our risk, trade smaller share size, and make sure you put your stops in place. Very, very important. What I want to show you is yesterday I did mention a couple of things, and before we go, I mentioned crude oil. I said crude oil is looking really interesting, as well as some of the. I did not mention the grains, but some of the grains have caught my attention the last couple of days, and I wanted to get that confirmation. And yesterday, a lot of the grains, soft commodities, have actually exploded to the upside. Well, that's going to put some positive momentum into the fertilizer stocks. So, just for an idea, you might want to look at some of the potash, Monsanto, and even soil, which is an ETF for fertilizer, SOIL. Just giving you a little bit of trade tips. Please use your trade management and risk management accordingly to your trade style. Okay, it's very important. In front of me, I did also mention USO. USO is getting very interesting here, as you can see. We had this waterfall sell-off from the Head and Shoulders pattern, and literally just fell out of bed all of May and all of June. We do have an inverted here hammer. We had that high volume distribution, which is really this is high enough to be called capitulation. Okay, a climactic move to the downside, which usually gives us a dead cat bounce up into here. I do like oil long. This is a real easy manage to trade to manage your trade. You know, you have your let me just grab my crosshairs here. Here's your stop is below 29. Give it 28.85. Anything below that, you need to get out. As far as crude itself, I wouldn't even mind looking for a pullback down to the 75 area, and looking to buy dips, buying into crude oil. We did have some political news out. Syria actually talking about war again, and that basically got us a little bit of a pop yesterday. So keep an eye on USO. You can keep an eye. There's a lot of small oil drillers. They do follow oil when oil does get hot. You want to keep an eye on it. Just a little trade idea for this week, and maybe actually for the next couple of weeks. But you got to keep tight stops in it. We are in a downtrend. Yes, we are. We did close below our Bollinger Band on a daily chart, which usually indicates some sort of a move higher, maybe into that 3150 in the USO if you're trading USO. Okay, we did have a nice little volume spike up from yesterday as well. So just keep an eye on this. Again, apply your trading strategies and your risk management based on your risk tolerance. Okay, very important, and make sure you use stops. Don't get stubborn, and make sure if we are trading a USO, 29.85 would be the break and would be the stop on this thing if you're looking for this trade. Okay, all right, guys, have a great day, and let's see what happens today. Let's see if that turnaround Tuesday really transpires. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.